Brenden, obviously with a 4-game losing streak, there's bound to be some frustrations there. But I'm kind of curious, are you having fun? I mean, is this still an enjoyable game for you and your teammates?
Yeah, personally, I love playing football. I love being out there. I love the nature of the game. I love how you have to, dominate your box. And our coaches always say that just dominate your box. Worry about what you're doing, not what anybody else is doing. Control what you can control. And as long as you're doing that, I mean, I have fun. Regardless, I try not to look up at the scoreboard during games. I just try to control what I can control, do my best, bring the most positive energy I can bring to the team, winning or losing. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm still having fun playing football.
Sam, go ahead.
Hey, Brenden, I'm curious, when you look at just the reasons for the struggles in recent weeks, do you think it's mental or do you think it's execution, or where would you classify kind of where you guys are struggling the most?
I mean, we are so close. And film, just going over the games, like we are right there. Every game, it's just a few. It comes down to a few plays, and it's been kind of like the story of the season where we're there. And I think as a team, morals are still high. We still have a positive outlook. We were flying around today at practice. Bringing positive energy. So I mean, we are there. So it's just taking that next step, and I think we're on the brink of doing that.
Cole, go ahead.
Brenden, what's been PK's message during this entire time? Has he kind of said something different each week based off the film, or is there kind of just a set notion in mind of what he's trying to get across?
Control what you can control, and practice. Reality becomes game reality. And so just doing what we can do, and like I said, in our box, controlling our box, making sure we're communicating, making sure everyone's on the same page. That's been his message throughout these past handful of weeks, is just control what you can control, dominate your box, and practice. Reality becomes game reality. So practice, as hard as you can, and that'll show up in the game.
Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, Brenden. Sark the other day was saying that he wants to make sure that y'all understand that the coaches are being demanding, not demeaning, and they're not being critical just to attack you. I'm curious, do you think the guys are accepting the coaching as it's coming, or do you think there are certain guys that maybe need to mature in the way that they, I guess, handle constructive criticism?
I think everyone's taken it pretty well. I mean, obviously it's frustrating when the game result isn't what you want it to be, and obviously no one's going to be happy, but I think everyone's taking the coaching the best they can. I know in our position room, we all are very, very truthful and honest about how we play. Coach Gideon always says, you need to be the hardest on yourself, and just reflect on how you thought you played. So I think everyone's taken, the coaching really well.
Kirk, you're up.
Yeah, Brenden, do the players worry about maybe the fan base checking out on the team because y'all do have a losing record? And does something like that, especially with social media, does that weigh on the players?
I would have to lean and say no. I think we're worried about what's happening on the field. We try to eliminate as many distractions as we can as a group, as a defensive group, as a team collectively. So I try not to really look into those outside distractions, like I said.
Chip, you're up.
Brenden, can you take us through your journey this season, the ups, the downs? Obviously, you've been in and out of the starting lineup and had a big game against Iowa State with the 12 solo tackles. But can you just take us through your journey this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a roller coaster, starting when Coach Sarkisian got here, and then going from offense to defense, and then having to learn offense, and learn the defense, and all the little intricacies of the defense and all the checks. I mean, it's been one roller coaster of a ride, but I've loved every minute of it. I love coming into the building with my guys, and going out to practice, you're working out the kinks, and then seeing those kinks worked out, and then work in the games. I've loved every minute of it.
John High, go ahead.
Brenden, you talk about dominating your box. Do you guys feel like y'all are doing that? And we've been hearing that you guys are close and right there for a while now. How do you get past that?
I mean, it's like I said before, just controlling what you can control. And as long as you're not worrying about somebody else's job and you're just worrying about your job, I think that's when we're going to have that breakthrough.
Sam, go ahead.
Brenden, I know you guys have played some really good stretches defensively, and there's just been stretches where obviously you guys haven't played as well. How do you get that consistency? How do you get to the point where you guys are playing good for 4 quarters?
It's kind of funny you bring that up because I was talking to my dad yesterday about that, how when you bring in a new defense, the better you get is like the more snaps you play. And I think these past couple games, I think we've showed that we can be really good, and we have. So I just think the more snaps we get and the more comfortable that we get with each other, I think it's only going to go up from here.
Roger Wallace, go ahead.
Hey, Brenden, can you explain what game day means to you, an older guy that knows that, you don't know how many more games you've got, and just, is that part of, we can't worry about all the stuff because game days are so special?
Yeah, I mean, just from the wake up call, I just, this being my last season, I try to just soak everything up from, the wake up call to the breakfast with your teammates, and then the bus ride over, how everyone's locked in, and the Bevo walk, and the pregame, and getting to see my parents before on the Bevo walk. Just try to soak it all up, because once it's done, and you can't go back and do it again. So really just trying to soak up everything that I can. Just take in my surroundings and enjoy it while I'm here.
Danny, you're up.
Brenden, I'm wondering, have you talked at all? Have you and your brother kind of communicated about picking each other up throughout the season? Obviously, he's been on a team that's had some struggles this year and gone through a midseason coaching change. What have you guys said to each other, or have you just kind of let each other be and dealt with it separately?
I think we talk as much as we can, and obviously being pretty busy during the season, it's a little bit harder. But during my bye week, I was watching his game, and texting him during the game. And then his bye week was just this past week, and he was over at my parents' house watching the game. So I got a text from him after the game. So I mean, when we have time, we'll talk to each other. But it's a little tough during the season, especially with what's going on.
Cole, go ahead.
Brenden, after going on the road for the past 2 games and seeing the inconsistencies, does it at least give you somewhat of a joy to be returning back to Austin to play this weekend against Kansas?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we always play better at home. Just having the crowd behind us, having their support. I mean, it's huge, especially on defense. When the fans get loud on third down, it just makes it that much harder for the offense. So, always love playing back here at Austin.
Kirk, you're up.
Yeah, Brenden, you mentioned the positive energy in practice. Can you name 1 or 2 players who's just really bringing it, in practice so far this week, that they're just super energized?
I as a safety, I try to take it, put that on my shoulders to be positive, and have a lot of constructive criticism towards my teammates, just uplifting them in a positive way. But I think myself, Jared Thompson, Josh Thompson, I think we did today, especially we came out there with a lot of positive energy in the secondary.
Last one, Chip.
Yeah, kind of along that line, Brenden, you get a chance to see the guys at your position in practice. Who's maybe a younger guy or a couple in the secondary you see making progress?
I think JD Coffey has come a long way, and Mo Blackwell from switching over to linebacker to safety. Just those 2 kids, just absorbing as much as they can, and those two kids are going to be great players when they're older. Just having a great coach like Coach Gideon coaching us, and PK as a defensive coordinator. I think those 2 kids are going to be really special down the line.
2 for me. Roschon, I assume by talking with us today that your turf toe is feeling all right.
Yeah, it's feeling good.
Okay. And then secondly, you played a couple years ago in that Kansas game that came down to the buzzer. I'm kind of wondering, mindset wise, what do you think of this Kansas team, and what do you think about the possibility of some of your teammates maybe overlooking Kansas based off their record?
That's not a factor at all. Preparing for this week and learning from my mistakes from these past few weeks, we're not looking at anybody. We're not overlooking anybody right now. I can tell you that for sure. And I'm making sure that that's happening. So I'd say our mindset has been good these past couple of days during practice. So I feel like we're putting the right foot forward going into this week.
Chip, go ahead.
Roschon, it appears that you are the unanimous leader of this football team after talking to a bunch of your teammates. Can you talk about, confidence can return as quickly as it leaves, right? I mean, what when we hear your teammates say you guys are close, I'm assuming that's kind of what everyone's getting at. Is that kind of your read on it? How would you read it?
From what standpoint? Are you talking about from a leadership standpoint or from confidence? I'm confused on your question.
Just from, first of all, a playing standpoint, like in game and confidence, the confidence that's allowed you guys to take big leads early and then, it slips away. That confidence, how fleeting is it?
I would say, honestly, I haven't done a good enough job instilling a certain culture, just so we don't have to be in those types of positions, just so we can have confidence throughout the whole game and not have to worry about our confidence during the game. But I don't really feel like that's been an issue. It's just a matter of execution, and that's, like I said, that's on me for not leading as much or doing as much as I could have done. Like there's some things that I could have done for us to be in more fortunate outcomes for these past few games, and it's just something that I didn't do a very good job of. So I think going forward, we've learned that it takes a certain belief amongst the team within ourselves to go out and succeed, and that belief is what's eventually going to brew that success. So I feel like going forward, we got the right mindset.
John Hyde, go ahead.
I know you guys are working on getting things turned around, but if you were a fan and witnessed what you guys have gone through the past 4 games, how would you feel about this team if you're a fan?
Obviously, from a fan standpoint, the fans don't care what's going on. They just care if you win or lose. So obviously, we haven't been winning to the degree that we should be, and that's upsetting. So I feel for them. But at the same time, I'm not a fan at this point. So I'm doing what I can to make sure we win.
Cole Thompson, go ahead.
Roschon, just because of the last 2 games and how they've gone on the road, does it give you a sense of comfort being able to come home and playing in front of the fan base for this big game ahead?
Yeah, it's always a joy, playing home, playing in front of the fans, and being right here in your own backyard. So I would say that's just a given in general, but I definitely feel like it's much needed at this point in time, just to come back home and just kind of put on a showcase for our fans and our supporters who are really there for us, and for us to just go out and showcase the work we put in.
Brian, you're up.
Ro, I know everybody would like to have better players at all the positions and stuff, but I'm curious, do you think there's enough talent on this team to do better than y'all are doing?
Yeah, it's more than enough. Like I said, I haven't done a good enough job instilling the culture for us to pull out those games. It takes a certain mindset amongst the whole team in order for us to win those ball games that we were in. And almost from the last 3 of them that we were winning going into the half. That's just a part of the discipline of the team to not get lax and not, panic when our back's up against the walls. And like I said, I personally haven't done a good enough job. I've kind of let things slip. But like I said, going forward from here on out, I know we have more than enough talent and enough good players to go out and win those ball games.
Cedric, go ahead.
Hey, Roschon, I know you've been playing sports your whole life. What's been your biggest sports disappointment, and how did you come through it? And did that kind of help mold you into the leader that you are today?
My biggest sports disappointment. I mean, when you play sports in general, you're gonna go through a lot of disappointments. So I'll honestly say, back in Little League, we lost the Super Bowl. And that was, I mean, at that time, like as a 10, 11-year-old kid, you don't really know how to take losses very well. But I mean, over the years, I've matured and realizing like how to, grow from certain things. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's just, I have a biggest disappointment, but I would say in Little League, obviously, just the maturity it comes with as you grow, learning from how to win and get better from those losses. So,
Nick, go ahead.
Hey, Roschon. Casey's obviously been dealing with the thumb issue the past couple of weeks. I'm curious, have you seen his frustration just growing with that because he's not able to kind of do the things that he was doing earlier in the season? And just where has he been at mentally the past couple of weeks while sort of going through these struggles?
From my standpoint, he's been good. I feel like he hasn't really let that be an excuse. At the end of the day, like if you're out there, regardless of anybody that's nicked up, has injuries, like you're gonna play. Like whether how you feel, what's going on with you, nobody cares. So at the end of the day, he knows that, and we know that as a team. So from what I've seen, he's been handling it pretty good. And like I said, if he's out there, he's gonna be held responsible to get the job done, just as much as anybody else.
Sam, you're up.
Hey, Roschon, you guys have gone through a lot of personnel changes on offense. You've had quarterback changes. You've had changes on the offensive line at times. You've lost a couple guys in the receiver room. I'm curious how that has impacted the offense and whether it's affected your guys' ability to play well.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. In this game, a lot of things can change. I mean, you look around it in the game of football, whether it's professional or at the collegiate level, like things can change like that. One day you have your starting quarterback, and the next day you don't. One day your receiver's here and he's hurt. Like it's forever changing. So it's a next man up mindset. And like I said, I have to do a good job as a leader to make sure that everybody knows that, regardless of who's playing. If you're put in that position to play, you have one job, and that's to execute and win. So I feel like that even if that's the case, we have guys playing and having to fill in roles. I mean, that doesn't matter. That's part of football.
Chip, go ahead.
Roschon, who are some young players on either side of the ball who are showing you they might have what it takes to be a leader in the future?
Jaron Thompson, Mo Blackwell on the defensive side of the ball. Those guys come to work. They pretty much go hard every practice, and they show some real potential and capabilities for the future. So those two young cats, I think they have a lot to look forward in. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, you guys just got to mature. I feel like that's kind of just with everybody. I mean, even with those guys, Jaron and Mo, it's just maturity, having to go through struggles, to get to a certain point to where they can be leaders. So everybody's growing.
John High, go ahead.
So you keep saying that you have to do a better job getting guys ready, and you're putting a lot of this on yourself. Is this something that you're just realizing? Because you guys have been kind of struggling for a while.
Mm-hmm. I mean, now more than ever, it's come to light. So even when I thought I was doing a good job, it wasn't good enough. So I was at this point, like, good isn't good enough. So regardless, until we go out and dominate somebody consistently, then the job's not getting done. So
Got time for the three last ones in queue. Cole, go ahead.
Ro, Stark's talked about in the past possibly utilizing Keelan a little bit more in different sets. What have you seen from his growth in the most sets in the last couple of weeks, and where are some areas that you think he still needs to improve?
I think he's done a good job of what Coach Sarkis been asking him to do in the time that he's played and the time that he's gotten the ball, and even when he hasn't gotten the ball. So I think he's been doing a pretty good job. I can't really speak on his personal improvement. I'm pretty sure he could tell you that, but I think for the most part of what Coach Sarkis asked him to do, he's stepped in and done it. Not just on offense, too, on special teams as well. He's done it on kickoff, punt return, on those aspects as well. So he's doing a great job.
Danny, go ahead.
Roschon, how would you just overall describe these last 4 games? For lack of a better word, is this miserable? How would you describe it? And does winning cure all?
Obviously, as a competitor, you aim to win. I don't think anybody that's here is, satisfied with losing. But I would not. Miserable that's a tough word for right now. I mean, obviously, when you go through a game and you lose, it's not the most exciting feeling in the world. But at the end of the day, you got to come back to the drawing board and see what you can get better from. So I feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and knowing that we know what we're capable of. It's not like we're just not even putting up a fight or not even having close games. So the fact that we know that we have the talent to go out and dominate people, that's enough for me to go out and learn from all the losses that we've taken.
Last one, Kirk, go ahead.
Yeah, Roschon, Coach Sark has always talked about buy-in, since he got here. Do you sense that there is any division or unity in the locker room? And are you worried about more guys maybe transferring out?
That's not a concern right now. I mean, like I said, me personally, and the leaders on this team, it's not really a matter of worrying about guys not buying in. It's just instilling the culture of what buying in is. So when you see certain stuff pointed out and making sure that the team is going about things the right way. So at the end of the day, if people aren't with that, then that's on them. But they shouldn't be the ones out there playing. But at the end of it, if they, buy in and adjust to the culture, then we'll be just good.